Democrats singing a different tune and looking to pin another scandal on the president. In a letter to the White House, Democratic Senators Chuck Schumer and Bob Menendez said, quote, "It is critical that national security matters of such import be shared with the American people in a timely manner. An entirely classified notification is simply not appropriate in a democratic society, and there appears to be no legitimate justification for classifying this notification, Clarice." And House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, she went one step further, as she always does, saying, quote, "The Trump administration conducted a provocative and disproportionate military airstrike targeting high-level Iranian military officials." But then, today, on Your World with Neil Cavuto, the plot thickens because former Democratic Senator and Vice Presidential nominee Joe Lieberman tried to break the tie. Joe?
The American people are not going to vote for anyone for president who they don't think is willing to use American force to protect our security.
They want iron balls. So was this airstrike justified? And what does that mean for the president politically? Here with me tonight on the party panel, let's meet him. We've got Independent Women's Forum senior analyst, attorney, and the Federalist contributor. Inez Stepman is here, along with Democrat strategist and Northern Star Strategies founder Michael Starr Hopkins, and Reason editor-at-large and host of the award-winning Fifth Column podcast. It is Matt Welch. Welcome, everyone.
Hi.
Thank you.
By gum. Okay, so I'm going to start with who's most excited, who's least excited, and then Matt will break the tie. Inez, go.
Look, I think that this was a good decision on the part of the president. There is an
What if it
interesting
was a bad
issue.
decision?
It's still in his power to make. Now, this is a fight that's been going on between Congress and the president about war powers and who has this ability, at least since World War II. I would argue going all the way back a century. And so the point is, none of this is new. This debate between Congress and the president over who has the power exactly to do what, and between the powers of the commander-in-chief and the power to declare war. This is something, I mean, I know libertarians will go back and say every war since World War II that has not had a declaration is unconstitutional. There are other views, but this is not new. Fundamentally, this is not a new power for the president to use.
No, but the question is, where do we go from here? Because Democrats will automatically say World War III. Republicans are like, no, he ends the war. What really happens?
I mean, this is a scary situation. What we have here is the United States killing the second in command in Iran, and the president didn't notify leadership. We have no idea what...
First in command is so sad.
We have no idea what the plan is moving forward. I mean, if you think of Iraq, Herbert Walker Bush didn't go into Baghdad because he knew the devastating impacts it would have. Bush, the second Bush, went into Iraq, went into Baghdad.
And we're still there.
Exactly. So what's the plan?
Okay,
I don't have a problem with him
okay.
killing Soleimani. I have a problem with the idea we don't have a plan.
Yes, and I agree there has to be foresight when you make big moves like this.
Yeah.
When you make big moves, you have to be ready to step in with some sort of hustle. And I don't know that they are, but what it looks like here is this president is more like George H.W. and less like George W. He doesn't want a long, protracted, mission creep, tail eats head war. It looks like he enjoys the short video game, short-term, millennial, satisfying missile strikes.
With like a side of war crimes, if you can get away with it. No, seriously, like
slow down, AOC. It's not war crimes. So we're going to target things.
No, it would be war crimes if
he did it. Yeah, a lot of things would be war crimes if they happened. But just saying them.
He just pardoned a war criminal.
Do you think George Lopez should be arrested by the Secret Service?
I mean, preemptively, if he tries to make another joke, my God. No, he is a person who has always said he doesn't want regime change wars. He said this in his statement on Friday.
He said it for 20 years.
I don't want to have a regime change war in Iran, which is a big difference from George Herbert Walker Bush, just in terms of what he did with Kurdistan. But he's always said, I will, take the gloves off and let our troops do whatever they need to do. If you mess with us, I will kill the families of terrorists, as he said on the campaign trail.
I'll torture.
He tells, I'll torture. He has this whole long parable about dipping bullets in pig's blood, totally made up. But that's what he has always been. It's a category difference, and we spent a lot of time, I think, being really confused, saying he's a hawk, he's a dove, World War III, not World War III. No, we just killed a guy, but it's going to potentially have a lot of instability associated with it. He obviously didn't plan this out at all.
Is there any way? No, and I agree with that. I don't know that there was a lot of internal strife within the DOD, as opposed, meaning there were a lot of generals saying, no, don't do this, absolutely don't do this. And some people like Stephen Miller going, it would be a great idea.
They're doing a lot of CYA right now in the press and saying, oh, we presented these options and not those options and all of that. The thing that bothers me right now is Nancy Pelosi, and I agree with her, go ahead and challenge the war powers resolution, all that kind of stuff. Do that. But where were you in Libya? Libya had less justification by far than this action. Libya
and
was
also,
not about like
also
punishing.
I want to bring Inez back in, also have the greater potential for becoming a vacuum than Iran does.
Well, I actually agree with Matt to some degree. I think this president is essentially pursuing a Jacksonian foreign policy, right? This is neither the sort of Wilsonian
Samuel
Bush,
L.,
W. Bush, right?
What does his wallet
that
say?
Too, yeah. No, but it's neither a George W. Bush policy of regime change and protracted war. It is more about hitting, if somebody hits Americans or American targets, we're going to hit back 10 times harder. Now, this president came into office in a situation where America has troops and assets all over the globe, and we can have a discussion about whether or not that's wise, and that does
you can make the case that Iran has done a lot with and been very provocative without getting any sort of a smackdown, and killing Soleimani is like the ultimate smackdown.
But this is a problem when you have a president who lies all the time, because now we have this chest thumping and no one knows what to believe. You have the Pompeo saying one thing, you have Trump saying another and correcting him on tweets. You have Trump sending out tweets saying this is our notification for the War Powers Act. The president's acting like this is a joke, and troops are going to go overseas and are going to die, and we should take it seriously.
Yes, absolutely, because the justification for killing Soleimani is he can't kill any more Americans, but plenty of Americans can die, and you can make more Gold Star families if you hastily...
I mean, there are a lot of people that are bad people that have killed American troops that we're not going after because of the...
And we should go after them, too.
Because of the cost that will happen later. I mean, this isn't just about what's going to happen now. It's what's going to happen tomorrow, a week from now.
So what would it take? What kind of provocation from Iran would it take to get a measured response?
I don't know, shutting down the strait. I mean, these are measured approaches, and I think the experts need to be the ones who tell the president what to do. The president shouldn't be making knee-jerk.
At this point, and I take your point, but who's an expert? The experts led us into Libya.
Oh, thank you very much.
The experts led us into Iraq in the first place.
The experts aren't also responsible to the American people the way the president actually has to stand for election before the American people. And this is not just a problem with foreign policy, right? This is across the board. We have a lot of unelected, quote-unquote, experts in government who make decisions that enormously impact America and the American people, and they've been wrong about a lot of things.
How many Americans died because of Robert McNamara's chin-stroking expertise? You know, it was very, very cold analysis that didn't take into account the human factor, which turns out was the most critical one. All right, well, we're going to talk more with the panel. Trump and Iran continue to exchange threats in the wake of Soleimani's death. Iranian officials announcing they will no longer abide by the 2015 nuclear deal like they were, a move that could yield them weapons-grade uranium in just a matter of months. How exciting. But policy experts believe Iran could retaliate in a variety of other ways, including an attack on U.S. military installations abroad, an attack on other U.S. embassies, an attack on U.S. allies like Israel, Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, maybe Jordan, a disruption of oil shipping through the Strait of Hormuz, as Michael Starr Hopkins was talking about.